For this section, I've tried to keep things super simple and basic. Hopefully you'll walk out of the session today with a deeper understanding of AI. So let's make sure we're all on the same page about what AI actually is. It's said everywhere, every day, people say it millions of times a day. Artificial intelligence is software that mimics human intelligence. That means it could do things like understand language, analyze patterns, and even make decisions, tasks that used to require a person. I like to think of AI as a really fast, always available junior associate, one that's trained on an enormous amount of information and is really good at summarizing, drafting, predicting, and helping you think through problems. And you are using AI already, even if you don't realize it. For example, when you ask Siri to call someone, asking Grammarly to help you with writing, ChatGPT of course. But AI isn't just about writing or answering questions. It's already doing big things in the world. For example, AlphaFold is helping scientists figure out how diseases work by predicting how proteins fold in the body. AlphaGo beat the world champion at Go several years ago. There's a Netflix documentary about it. Waymo is using AI to drive cars in a bunch of US cities with no human behind the wheel. So when we talk about using AI in immigration law for writing letters, managing intake, or drafting forms, just remember that this technology is already helping in medicine, science, and transportation, and it's ready to help in legal work too. And it's, as I mentioned before, it's not just private companies using AI. USCIS uses AI in all kinds of ways. They have a page on it. You could check out the QR code. So from stuff such as facial recognition for identity verification to automating how they classify evidence or digitize forms, AI is helping streamline how USCIS works. And in fact, earlier this year, DHS released an official Gen AI playbook outlining how they are using generative AI to speed up case processing, train officers more efficiently, and summarize documents faster. Let's take a quick look at how AI systems actually work. No technical background needed. First, the AI needs data. In immigration, this could be anything from websites, books, documents, case files, lots and lots of examples, hundreds or thousands or even millions. Think of it like training a junior paralegal. You can show them thousands of past cases, filings, or letters so that they start to understand patterns. Once the AI has the data, it goes through a process called training. This is where the system learns how language works, what sentences tend to look like, how questions get answered, how legal documents are structured, and what's been successful and unsuccessful in the past, and so on. After it's trained, then you can start using it. This part is called inference. That just means you give it a prompt and it gives you a response. For example, draft a perm job description for a data analyst, and it gives you a detailed, relevant draft. That's inference in action. That's inference in action. Now, this is the part a lot of people don't realize, and I alluded to it a little bit earlier about AIs using your data to retrain their models. But most modern AI systems continue to improve over time. If users give feedback like thumbs up or thumbs down, if they correct the answers, if they edit the drafts, that information can help the AI improve. It's kind of like reviewing a paralegal's draft and giving notes to them so that they know how to do better next time. And you'll see in the diagram that feedback can go back into the training loop. That's how these models get smarter. They keep learning from real world usage and corrections. Now let's talk about the kind of AI that's really driving a lot of the progress we're seeing today, large language models, or LLMs. Okay, a large language model is an AI system trained to understand and generate human language. That means it can read, write, summarize, translate, and answer questions, all by recognizing patterns in massive amounts of text. We call them large because they're trained on billions of words and concepts. In fact, they're trained on, the entire set of like the internet and everything that people can get their hands on. They usually train LLMs with it. So you can think of it like a supercharged language assistant, one that has read the internet, books, articles, and more, and can now help you do everything from drafting letters to brainstorming arguments. Some of the more commonly used LLMs are here in the slides. OpenAI makes ChatGPT, Anthropic makes Claude, Google makes Gemini, Meta creates one called Llama, and DeepSeek has its own LLM. And Meta's and DeepSeek's are actually publicly available. You can download them and run them in your own computer. The first three are proprietary. The important thing to know here is that this is a fast-moving space with a lot of competition, which is a good thing. It means more tools, more competition, better quality, and more choices for professionals like you. Let's take a quick peek under the hood and talk about how a large language model like ChatGPT actually works. Let's say you type in draft an explanation of the perm process for a first-time employer. That's your input, a natural language prompt, simple and plain. The first thing the model does is break that sentence into smaller pieces called tokens. They're like building blocks. Sometimes it's a word, sometimes it's part of a word. It's a bit like a paralegal reviewing a message. You send them and maybe highlighting key terms like perm, explanation, first-time employer, before sending it out to a client so that they don't miss the important details. Next, those tokens get converted into numbers at the embedding layer. This is a way for the model to understand relationships between ideas. Behind the scenes, this is how it knows that green card process and perm are connected. Also, that's how it probably knows that first-time employer may need a little bit more hand-holding than a seasoned HR manager. Next, transformer blocks. The entire input all at once is observed to understand context. It figures out what's the goal here, what tone should I use, what level of detail is appropriate for a layperson, should I explain concepts like prevailing wage or recruitment. It's not just pulling a template, it's reasoning based on the relationships between the model and between the words and the input. Then the model starts generating a response, one word at a time, at the output layer, based on everything it's learned from billions of examples during training. This is how you go from a short prompt to a clear, friendly explanation of the perm process, tailored to someone new to immigration law. And once the response is ready, it's up to you what to do with it. Maybe you drop it straight into a client email, you can print it, etc. But it doesn't stop there. Most of these AI systems can trigger other tools behind the scenes. Maybe they can generate a polished PDF. They might be able to send the email directly to your client, pull data from a government website, do some analysis, create charts, a lot of things. This is where AI starts to feel less like a chatbot and a little bit more like a real digital assistant. Not just giving you answers, but doing concrete tasks for you. The takeaway here is this: these models break down what you say, understand it in context, and generate useful responses. And in many cases, they don't just respond, they take action. So that is it actually for the fundamentals of AI portion. Thank you so much for tuning in.